There's always this misconception about African culture, why they do what they do and all that stuff. The best way to be able to understand the African culture, and most importantly, the African people, is by understanding the African spirituality, which is in connection with nature. One thing about African spirituality is that it's in tune with nature. It's in tune with the cosmos. And this is where the spirituality comes in. The African culture believes humanity is part of nature and nature is part of humanity. Together, we're able to understand better our world. As humans, we learn from nature and relatively learn about the functionality of both nature and humanity. One of the misconceptions of African culture is ancestor worship. And that word worship is not from the African culture, because if that were to be interpreted from the African language itself, it's not anything close to worship, but veneration. Veneration in that the original culture, pre-colonization, comprises of honoring our ancestors, both living and dead. So, in the original African culture, we do not worship our ancestors. Instead, we honor our ancestors because they are our foreparents and we see them as our protectors, our guardians, and because they have been here on earth before us, they are able to guide us aright on this journey of life here on earth, whether they are alive or far gone. And the way we see our ancestors is that our ancestors are a way of connection. They are the connecting dot to us as people. The ancient African culture teaches us that our ancestors are the foundation of who we are. They are the foundation, just like the root of the tree is the foundation of the tree. The tree cannot do without the root. Without the root, the tree will not be standing. The tree will not have a footing on the earth. That's how the ancient African culture views our ancestors. They were here before us, and so we are their descendants. So we see them as our foundation. They are the connecting dot for us. Without them, we don't know who we really are. We need our ancestors to be able to understand who we are and what our purpose here on earth is. Our ancestors are the connection which forms a way of a compass. You see the way a traveling ship needs the compass to be able to know the direction of the wind and the direction at which it should go. Our ancestors serves to us as this. When we now undermine the knowledge of our ancestors, then we undermine our very importance and essence here on earth. The ship needs a way of direction. The tree needs the root to be able to stand, and not just that, also to be able to grow and flourish and be the tree it's been ordained to be. Currently, due to the great side effect of the impact of colonization on the African continent and the African people worldwide, most Africans don't have the knowledge of their ancestors. And for you to be able to understand yourself better, you must understand who your ancestors are before you can understand who God is. Because it is through understanding who your ancestors are that you are able to find yourself. Most people are walking the surface of this earth trying to understand who they are. They are trying so hard to find themselves. They don't understand who they are. There's a deep struggle in the life of so many individuals on the surface of this earth because they don't know who they are. They are just walking up and down like zombies, taking on any religion that is not even bringing as much understanding to them spiritually. And this is where the African spirituality comes in. The African spirituality takes in your ancestors, your environment, nature, people, how we treat one another, how we treat our environment. All this is African spirituality, and most Africans have lost the essence of who they truly are. Why? Because they have no footing, no bearing of who their lineage is, their ancestors are. So there's this struggle within them, and for this they feel incomplete. You can go as far as you want. Go get your first degree, second degree, third degree, masters, the one that is even higher than masters. Achieve everything on earth. Achieve all the materialism on earth. But when you are not able to understand who you are spiritually, what your core essence here on earth is, then those other things don't mean nothing. You still feel incomplete. That's why we see so many people giving up on life. And you look at some of these people, they are successful materially, but their spirituality is so vague and empty. And there's something that spirituality feels in you that materialism cannot fill up. It is your spiritual essence that helps to complete you. What I'm saying is that the way some people are looking at African ancestor veneration, I'm going to use that word veneration because that's the right word. Worship is the wrong word. Africans don't worship their ancestors. At least the ancient African culture is not about the worship of ancestors. It's about the veneration of our ancestors, honoring them, respecting them, appreciating their contribution here on earth and in our lives as well, and believing that when our ancestors leave this earth, that is die, they are still going to continue to live. That's where that concept of eternity in the Christian religion comes from. This is where it is coiled from, because in the ancient African culture, it is the belief that when we complete our mission here on earth and we die, that is not the end of our journey. After death, we still continue to live. There's still other mission. It's a continuous journey. And this is where the Christian religion has called having eternity after this life from. So it is the African belief that when our living ancestors leave this earth and go to the great beyond, they still continue to watch over us even after they leave this earth. They still have that responsibility to watch over us, to guide us, to protect us, to lead us aright to the path in which we are meant to walk. So we need our ancestors, our dead ancestors, and I have to call them that word because that's how we describe it here on earth, isn't it? Once we leave this earth, it is the African belief that the journey does not end here. There's still mission to be attained. There's still mission to be completed. So the African culture still honors these ancestors of ours by way of libation, by way of acknowledging them, but they do not replace the creator of heaven and earth and our creator. I think that's what some other belief call guiding angels. But in Africa, we don't call them guiding angels. We call them our ancestors who continue to live even after leaving this earth. So don't get it twisted. We do not worship our ancestors. We venerate our ancestors by way of libation, which I'm going to talk about in another video. Most Africans have been blinded, denied of their originality because of foreign religion. Foreign religion which we have embraced and reject our own African spirituality. We need to go back in search of our truth. What makes us who we are? Because if we don't, someone else is going to remind you. No matter how fair skinned you are, no matter how much you straighten your hair or cover it up by putting on a straightened wig, someone out there is going to remind you who you are. And for you to begin to understand who you truly are on the surface of this earth, you need to start understanding who your ancestors are, so you can be able to find yourself. We honor our ancestors. We venerate our ancestors. We do not worship them. Our ancestors do not replace the Creator. The Creator remains the Creator. Our ancestors are a way of we understanding who we are, just like the doctors, the scientists incorporate DNA, whereby they are able to find out where your lineage is from originally, geographically. All this is from the concept of ancestorship. So it is vital as a people for us to know who our ancestors are. Not just to know, but to be able to venerate them, appreciate them. They were here before us. They sacrificed for us. They laid the path for us to be able to walk. We are walking on the path that our ancestors have walked thousands of years ago, probably millions of years ago. Thank you very much for watching. Truly look forward to the next video. You take care now.